We are live here at the Doghouse Grill, the Nick and Matt Show for June the 12th, 2015. Matt, welcome. Our second one. I think the first one went pretty well.
We made it through another week. Didn't get too much hate mail. Actually got a few people that applauded our efforts.
Yeah, pretty good response. We will definitely try to shorten it up for you guys out there as we learn the process of a podcast or a video, you could say.
Did you get tripped up there?
Yeah, I know. I keep forgetting.
Anytime he moves his hands, we have problems.
I keep forgetting we are not on radio.
Yes.
But the good news is, hey, guys out there, we will be doing the City-County Football All-Star Game on 940 ESPN, so we're slowly getting back. Had a good talk with Chris Pacheco, and we're working it out. We're almost back on.
I look forward to that. That June 19th date is something everybody needs to mark on their calendar. It's an absolutely fantastic game at LaMonica Stadium. Great venue. And coach on the city is Pete Joseph McLean from Madera. My good friend Bonner Cunnings. Definitely will be a good football game.
We're definitely going to talk about that in a few minutes. But I get a lot of emails, Matt. And they want to know, well, what's the game plan for your show? We're about 90% local, 10% national, because I think a lot of people in the market, they do the other way around because it's easier. So we're going to get our little 10% in. I want to talk about a little basketball game called the NBA Championship, and I want to see if your thoughts on this. But to me, and I don't think Cleveland's going to win it, but what LeBron James has done has got to be one of the greatest athletic feats I've ever seen, and it equals up to Madison Bumgarner last year. Giant fans, you won't like this, but Madison Bumgarner won the World Series last year on his efforts. I've never seen an athletic event in my life like he did until now. What LeBron James is doing with a team that they're like the Washington Generals. They could play the Harlem Globetrotters when he's not on the court. They couldn't. I don't see them getting a pick in a pickup game at the local over at Holmes Playground. I've never seen like it. What he's done for Cleveland.
If LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers find a way to win this series, in my opinion, it will go down in the history, and it will actually put LeBron James now not only on the Mount Rushmore of great NBA talent. I think he will surpass Michael Jordan for accomplishments, because for him to do that, it's a solo act. And it took Michael Jordan forever to finally get that first title, but he got a great supporting cast. For him to be where they're at right now, tied up 2-2 as we do this podcast, if he could find a way to win it, he's gained my full respect and admiration. He is the best I've ever seen.
Ever.
But I don't think he'll be able to do it. I think all the experts on all the different sports shows have told all the different predictions, and it really does come down, I believe, what everyone's talking about, attrition. I think the Warriors have just too many bodies ready to roll at any given moment, and I think they're starting to wear down Cleveland. We'll find out, though. 2 days off, live for this podcast, but 2 days off. They're back at it on Sunday, and we're going to find out. Game 5.
When he goes off the court, like he took a break last night in the game 4, and you watch the Cleveland Cavaliers play, it was embarrassing to watch.
Well, he took a break. Horrible. He took a break when he gashed his head on top of a camera, which everyone's talking about that too, and I've always wondered, why are all those cameras down on the court side? When I watch at home, I never get that knee level shot. I get camera angles from all the people in the national broadcast on ABC or whoever's doing the basketball game, TNT, but I never see that angle, and I see the guy had NBA TV. I subscribe to NBA TV, and I very rarely get that footage. So I think that's something that needs to be looked at. I clearly believe that LeBron James had every right to bash the dude in the face for being down there that close. That's, to me, is inexcusable to have something of that size, something that could open up a head wound of that nature that close to the court, needs to be looked at.
So we finally agree on something, that Golden State's going to win the NBA championship.
Well, we agreed on that before the game. I'm sorry, we just felt like it would be a sweep. But Cleveland had other things you've said about that. Cleveland has really showed.
So if you're LeBron James, are you shooting him pretty much every time you get the ball?
No. You're doing exactly what they've been doing up to this point. He's got to keep everybody involved. He does have to score 40-plus a night to win this thing. But it's the triple-doubles I'm looking for, assists and rebounds. He's got to do a lot more than just score.
Well, Kyrie's out. You got Love out for the year. J.R. Smith has to step up, but he's horrible.
Well, he's
really pressing.
Yeah, well, he's not as bad as the center for Golden State that I'm beginning to wonder, how did they ever sign that guy?
Yeah, let's change gears here, and I don't know if you agree with me or not. We usually about 50% agreeing on things or not, but Fresno State baseball. Let's go down to Fresno State baseball, and let me ask you your opinion. Fresno State baseball and softball, in fact, all Fresno State sports plays in the Mountain West. I would love to see Fresno State play in the Big West, and the reason why I say that, I don't care about New Mexico, Air Force and baseball, the travel. I don't think the fans care about the Mountain West. I would love to see the Fullertons, the Irvines, the Santa Barbaras of the world, Long Beach State come in here. I think with the fans, the travel will be a lot less. And I hope Athletic Director Barco looks into that, because I think it's a no-brainer for baseball and softball.
It absolutely has to, in my opinion, and you and I talked about this at your place quite a while ago. It makes perfectly good sense for travel, for savings of cost, and also
rivalry.
Exactly, the rivalries that you could begin to foster. And it's better baseball. It's better baseball. Do I need to say we are now in the College World Series? There's not one Pac-12 team there, not one Mountain West team there. However, there is the Cal State Fullerton Titans. They are in the championship.
Yeah.
So that tells you right there that baseball is played in the Big West is better than what you see in the Mountain West.
Even Hawaii, who's in the Mountain West in football, plays baseball in the Big West.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. Let's make it happen. And I think if you're wondering why Fresno State is not drawing a lot of people, I think people don't care of the teams coming in. I want to see the Big West. I think the fans will get a big kick out of it. And also, hey, let's save some money.
Yeah, I think that the main factor why that doesn't happen, though, and that's internal stuff that I'm not aware of, but I know that when you're trying to portray yourself that you're a big-time program, you like to play everything in conference, whether it's track and field, volleyball, swimming. You like to keep everything in conference. I don't know if that shows a weakness if you step out of conference, but I do know where I went to college at USC. They've got a volleyball conference that's made up of teams from all over this region.
Yeah.
It's not the Pac-12. They don't play in the Pac-12. They play in an entirely different conference for volleyball. So I know it can be done. I think they need to get rid of that stigma that we must play games in conference by all sports. I think you should go travel where the best economic advantage is, and like you said, where the schools that we really would love to go see play, that we could build these intersectional rivalries or interstate rivalries would be good.
A lot of talk in town for the last 2-3 weeks was Derek Carr, his finger, it's numb, he can't throw the football, and I've been trying to tell everyone, calm down, it's minicamp. It's not a big deal, and look, he's fine. And I go nuts sometimes when I think about minicamp. And I know Allen Iverson practice, but it is minicamp. The Raiders are working out. They realize they're fine at quarterback. That's not their worries. They got to worry about everything else. The quarterback is back. Derek Carr is going to be fine. It's a numbness. He's 100% fine. So that's good news for Derek Carr.
Yeah, but I totally get the idea that it has to be talked about. He is your franchise quarterback. For all intents and purposes, he might be the guy that leads the Raiders back to the promised land. He seems to be that kind of a football player. And even if it's a pinky, it's a toe, it's his nose, that's news. That's newsworthy. He is the quarterback of our Raiders.
But
he's a local guy. I need to know exactly what's going on with him day to day.
Well, okay, it's minicamp.
Especially since Amari Cooper's now in camp, and apparently they've already made some connections in minicamp, and they look pretty good together.
Well, okay, it's minicamp. Again, minicamp. It's minicamp, okay? So relax out there. The Raiders will be fine. They got a lot more things to worry about. I think Derek Carr, if anything, he's got to worry about, and I think they realize as well, is they don't want him to get beat up early. Can he take a hit? We don't know. So they're going to take care of their quarterback for the long run.
Absolutely,
yeah.
As they should.
Let's take a break, Matt. We're going to come back and talk about a little camp called the DB Guru that would just happen last night with Jim Harbaugh in town. Let's be back. Brought to you by Rain for Rent. And if you guys out there would like to be a sponsor, this is where it'll come in. So you can always get a hold of Pag Meter. Email the Pag Meter at pagmeter@yahoo.com, and also Twitter with the Pag Meter. But this is the time to sponsor Rain for Rent. We'll be back. Talk about a little camp in town last night. Nick and Matt show live at the Doghouse Grill. Welcome back. It's the Nick and Matt Show, June 12th, 2015. And Matt, we're live at the Doghouse Grill. If you're wondering why we don't have people dancing and everything else, it's a little warm outside tonight. We got a graduation across the street from the Doghouse Grill.
Yes.
We're trying to figure out who's graduating tonight, but it's
Definitely-
summertime.
Yeah, it's definitely Fresno Unified School
Yeah.
District High School, one of the schools.
Yeah, this is why we're not. We got Justin, we got Samantha, Jacob here tonight, and it's warm tonight. There's no doubt about it.
No, is there?
It's Fresno.
Every year we get shocked that there's heat.
I was
It
in
comes.
Bakersfield
It's part of
last
the
week.
deal.
Rain for Rent meeting. I was in Bakersfield, and it rained 1.5 inches in about 2 hours, where it was 95 degrees here in Fresno.
And it almost took us out of the drought.
Yeah.
For
Not
a
even-
moment, we were okay.
Yeah, not even close.
But then
We'll
it
see.
all rushed out to the ocean and we're in a drought again.
But on my way back from my Rain for Rent meeting in Bakersfield, stopped in. Matt calls me. We got a little football camp going on over at Roosevelt High School. The DB Guru Camp. Tony Perry puts on a fantastic camp, and I don't know how he does it, but a little guy, might have heard of him, Jim Harbaugh was in town with his Michigan staff.
Whole staff.
Whole staff.
Everybody.
You had the USC offensive coordinator.
Clay Helton was in.
I saw a Utah State coach walking around.
Yeah, Josh-
Cal Poly was here.
Josh Brown, defense coordinator at Cal Poly, and a lot of his assistants were in. And
We're gonna we got a
Georgia
clip
Pacific
too.
was there.
We got a
it was good
clip. We're
stuff.
gonna run it as we talk about this. But Matt, I'm over here filming Jim Harbaugh, and he's working his tail off. He's got a sweatshirt on. He's got his November looking 3 Below Zero football gear on in Fresno, working hard with these quarterbacks. I was impressed.
You have to be impressed. I mean, I've never had an opportunity to see Coach Harbaugh live like that. Everybody sees tape and NFL films, and what a engaging personality and what a great fiery leader he is. But he was in the back room, the staging area, and I was back there with him and all the volunteer coaches that were all there, and he's lacing up his cleats. I'm thinking,
He's
what's
got
he
cleats
doing?
on.
He puts on the cleats with his slacks, his
Fourth-down
Docker look,
sweatshirt,
right?
yeah.
He had on the long sleeve, put the hat on, and he went out there and he not only gave the young kids the money's worth, but he put on a show that was reminiscent of something I've never seen. If Pete Carroll runs a similar high-tempo, high-energy style, that's Jim Harbaugh. And his staff. His staff was spectacular.
Let me ask you, as a high school coach, when I go to a lot of practices around the valley, I go everywhere. The PAC meetings all over the place. I sneak in, I watch practice. The kids last night, now how many do you think there were? A couple hundred, 300?
Yeah, I'd say 250 to 300. Yeah.
300 kids, and they were working like it was a Super Bowl. And as a coach, I've never seen kids work so hard. Is it because Jim Harbaugh and the staff was here and it's potential college? Because I don't see that effort some high schools around here. Did you see that?
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. There's no question that the young men and older guys, when they go off from college to pros or high school to college, you have a tendency to work a little bit harder, move a little faster when
should
there's
say.
an absolute legendary icon
Yeah.
in front of you. Of course they move because Coach Harbaugh brought the tempo. There's USC is there. They all want to put on a show, and no one wants to do the wrong thing. Although I did see some of the young guys out there working that pulled a few little immature little moves, and Jim Harbaugh was right there to strike them down and tell them that's not how we play football.
Well, just working with the quarterbacks.
Showboating and
yeah.
things like that, not finishing plays. So yeah, I'm going to use that lesson, which you just talked about, for the rest of my days coaching. Why is it that you do that when there's some stranger from out of town? He happens to be one of the great college coaches in America from a great program. Why do you move so fast now and not when you're with us?
You know, what was amazing to me is your trainer from Edison, Steve, was out there.
Steve Guerrero was there.
And he had the training table, he had the ice, he was ready to go. But I asked him, hey, you're busy tonight? And he goes, no, not really. I don't see any kids over here. They do not want to get injured when Jim Harbaugh and the staff was out there. I just wondered it would be different if it was a regular practice. And if your regular high school was practicing, they might be on the trainer table a little longer, if you know what I mean. But I saw guys going nuts last night, working their tails off of that.
It's not just the kids, too, the players. It was the coaches. And I'm one of them, okay? So I know that when someone like that is in front of you exhibiting his style, you step up your game, too. So it wasn't just the kids. It was also the coaches who were there. Great staff from Roosevelt was out there assisting. By the way, great support staff that showed up to that event. That event, without question, with Tony Perry and DB Guru, Lee Perkins, CJ, what they put on, along with the help of the schools and everybody else, and that campus at Roosevelt, they put on a heck of a show. It's the best I've ever been to in this valley as far as actually feeling like I'm walking out on an NFL training camp.
I
So.
was really impressed with that facility where they had it last night.
Well, they stepped it up. They made
Yeah.
it look really nice.
They really did. Now, Tony Perry, you mentioned Tony Perry. What does he do? Hey, Jim, we're having a little clinic in Fresno. Would you like to fly across country and be here? How does that work?
Well, a lot of people ask that question. The bottom line is this. If there's talent that can help a program, let's make no mistake about it, Michigan needs help. They haven't exactly been all that stellar representing the Big Ten Conference. If there's talent to be looked at, all the colleges will come. It creates a credibility when the guy that's actually trying to create this day, DB guru Tony Perry, who's actually been around and knows a lot of these coaches from his years of coaching young kids who've gone on to USC and Oklahoma and Cal and all over the place. They know that he has the ability, because of his connections, that he can amass a large amount of great student athletes in one setting. Of course, Michigan's going to come here. That's really a no-brainer. Have talent, we'll travel. Have talent, we'll travel. There was talent. I'm coming from Ann Arbor, and I'm going to go check out. Now, it's worth mentioning, it's not the only stop they're going to make. A lot of colleges now, the game has changed. They're doing these, what I consider, free workshops. The kids have to pay, and that's NC2A rules. If Jim Harbaugh had his way, I'm sure he wouldn't want to charge anything. But NC2A law forbids you to do a free camp while you're actually looking at high school football players. It has to be a paid-for camp. But there's other camps going all over the state of California. That's what's happening in college football. They have these workshops where everybody can come and get a look. My problem is, if you're not ready to compete, if you've been sitting on the couch eating marshmallows and hanging out with your Captain Crunch, and you go out on the field, you only get one shot to make an impression when someone like that's there. And I saw, for the most part, everyone looked pretty good, but I saw some guys that were absolutely kidding themselves being out there.
Well, we're running the clip as we're talking right now, and you can see how Jim Harbaugh was working hard with the quarterbacks.
He still throws. He's the big lefty, and he moves. He's got a.
He's a righty.
Is he a righty?
He's a righty.
Okay, I always pictured him as a lefty.
And you look at Michigan, they're thinking, hey, there's a lot of talent in California. There's kids all over California was here yesterday.
Yeah.
This wasn't our Fresno kids or Valley kids. You saw kids all over the state.
Oh, from Southern California to Inland Empire, all the way up to Sacramento and all the way to the coast. They came around to go get a shot to see. Coach Helton, I might point out, that was the offensive coordinator of USC. He was also there. So there, and Josh Brown, Cal Poly was in strong support. Azusa Pacific, as I said, was there. It was a good showing for these kids.
How about some of the Edison kids? What do they think? Your kids playing? Did they get a big kick out of it? Because I saw every kid going all out like it was Super Bowl time, which I was very impressed. Kids worked hard yesterday. Very impressed.
Well, it was organized. They gave all the coaches a brief run through. Back behind in an air-conditioned classroom cubicle with Coach Harbaugh and all his staff. They told us what they were going to do. They went just like we would in a practice. The practice was scripted. They bounced from play to station, and you had no choice but to work hard because, once again, when coaches bring the energy like that, you either sink or swim. And in front of a guy like Coach Harbaugh, I'm certain you wouldn't want to be the guy who got embarrassed.
A lot of quarterbacks I saw yesterday was driving me nuts. And Matt, I go crazy. Mm-hmm. A lot of quarterbacks are throwing like this, and it drives me nuts because if you're going to throw the ball like this, and it's going to come out like this, I love it. The ball is actually going to come just in your living room like this. I want the ball down, but I saw a lot of quarterbacks. So the reason why I don't like it, there's too much wrist movement, and you can tell the baseball players yesterday. We're going to put Tom Brady up on the screen. I know that half America doesn't like Tom Brady. Joe Montana. Look at any quarterback in the NFL. Watch where that ball is. It's pointed down. They're here. It's by their ear. I saw a lot of quarterbacks running like this yesterday. There's a little thing, but you know what? They're learning.
Yeah.
Guys out there, quarterbacks, let the ball down by your ear. Not like this. I don't want to point it by Matty.
Well, the problem is when the ball is in that position.
Yeah.
It's like a golf swing. There's too many moving parts.
Too many movements.
Now when you're getting ready to release, you've got to recorrect.
You got to turn your
wrist.
wrist.
Balls low, high, sideways, either way.
And what happened? It's the wrist.
The wrist, and it controls
I don't
all
like
that.
it.
You keep everything in one piece, just like my golf swing, beautiful as it is. It's all one piece, perfect takeaway. You know that.
Yeah, it's perfect takeaway. It's just,
I need you now to take that part of your game and now take it from the toes up and start telling me about feet and hips and all that.
Well,
and then maybe you can help the Edison Tigers out instead of the part-time status you're under right now.
Yeah, well, that's just what happens. But you know, it's summertime, and Matt, let me ask you. We got about 4 minutes before we go to break. City County All-Star Football. You and I are going to be behind. We're going to be doing on 940 ESPN the play-by-play in color. You coached it. You won it. But you got kids coming out. They haven't put a helmet on since what? November or October. And now you're asking them to get in 105-degree temperature. Tonight's hot. How do you? What's Pete Joseph doing it for the city? And what's what are we doing? How do you handle that?
Well, the coach is Pete Joseph for the city, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Bonner Cunnings from Madera for the county. First and foremost, you need to take a few steps back and realize graduation's going on underway. So last week they started practicing, so you had a whole lot of disruptions of practice time because kids are going to graduation, they've got parties, things to do. So number one, trying to get your team all together on the same page in 2 weeks is a monumental task. So that has to be mentioned. Two, I think that most of the players from the county have typically a greater sense of really embracing the experience and making it really matter because it's their last chance of really playing football for a lot of these guys. Where it was always traditionally based, the city would show up a couple practices, wing it, throw it out there and do it. But I always say the city has a huge advantage. I already talked to Coach Cunnings this morning. Because,
why is that?
Well, there's too many teams for the county. So when you're picking from 25 teams and the city picks from, I believe, 18, a lot of people think, well, good, you get more selection. Well, it's coaching this game.
I don't think it's that many if you want to do the math. I think it's the other way around. It's like 11 and 18.
Oh,
yeah.
Whatever it is. I know it's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
there's
doesn't matter.
A big difference. The county has more schools to select from, which means this. People would say, why does that matter? As a city coach, I'm going to I call them the Big Five, maybe Big Six. I'm going to Clovis North, Clovis West, Clovis High, Edison, Buchanan, Bullard. And I'm going to try to amass the best talent I can off of those programs. Not that there's other schools in the city that play great football, Roosevelt, Sunnyside.
Handpick them.
But if I can get as many familiar faces on the same field together, I have a better chance of executing because they know each other. Where in the county, you've got to pick from all these different schools, and you got to get a representative from each one, so you get a guy from here. But at the end of the day, you can only have a week, or not even that really when you add it all up as far as practice time, to get everybody on the same page to work. It is a difficult task to get everybody involved in special teams, offense, defense, ready to play after only 6 or 7 practices.
I totally agree.
And oh, by the way, I talked with, like I said, Coach Cunnings, and he told me that, he's just hoping he can get his team to practice because they've been missing right and left.
Well, plus they've got to drive forever. Where you can have a city practice at Buchanan or wherever, probably at McLean, and it's pretty easy to get there within 10 minutes all over the Fresno. Where you're coming from Fireball and Carruthers and Kalinga and all over the place. But I kind of like it. Back to DB Guru. They're going to have a state play all-star game and they believe it's January the 10th, and we'll keep you updated on that.
Yeah, and that's fun.
Would you rather have an all-star game right
I've
after
gone
the
over
season?
this. We've gone over this many times. I'd rather do the all-star game about the time that they're doing it now. I've gone both ways, but as I really analyze this, at Edison High School, we're going to make a push starting next year more than we've ever done before about sharing athletes. We talked about on the last episode with Coach Arax. So when the football season's over, my guys are going right into basketball, whether it's training to get ready for baseball, wrestling, track and field guys, and to disrupt the other guys that are playing, especially the small schools that everybody shares their athletes, and it's on to one sport, next sport, next sport.
Yeah.
How can you sequester them away for a football game? It's not easy. In the middle of January.
Well, let's talk about
basketball
this.
season.
The South Valley this year, during baseball season, and Centennial, for example, Mr. Dewey, who is one of the all-time best second basemen in the South Valley, their all-star game is right in the middle of baseball season. They play arena football. So they had a game on Friday, baseball. That night, there's an all-star arena football league.
Why?
He blows his knee out, and he's out for the year.
Yeah,
How would you like that?
Why
how'd it go?
Why are they playing arena football? I don't get that.
Why are they playing during baseball season? South Valley, I don't like that at all. You can't play during the year. You lost your second baseman, and I think that hurt the Golden Ox for the baseball playoffs. One of the best players in the South Valley. Coming up, we're going to have the city-county baseball game this Saturday, Sunday night at Chachansey. And the only difference before we take break, Matt, is football it's got to be the toughest. Baseball, Tom Donald and Andy Underwood of coaching,
That's the
they just
ball
roll the
game.
baseballs out. Hey, you go play third. They're already in gear.
final score.
Basketball, you roll the ball. Football-wise, you got
City,
2 weeks. You got to put it in
5,
offense.
County,
You got to
3.
get guys around, make it as simple as possible. But this Saturday night, or I'm correct, say it again, Sunday night, in 105-degree temperature at Chichansee, it's the City County
Connor
All-Star
Oldridge,
game. We
please
will be
stay
there.
away from the
Let's take a
mirror
break. This is brought to you by Fresno Ag Hardware. Pat Marchese, 139-year anniversary last week. That's how long they've been in business. And Pat has worked every year since then. So we will
Pat's
be
still
back.
as good looking as he was in his 20s.
We're going to talk about the year in review. We got
Beautiful hair, Pat. I mean, I love the hair.
love you, Pat. Fresno Ag Hardware. And also, if you want to be part of our sponsor, this is how you do it. You want to email the pagmeter at yahoo.com. We'll be back. Scott, great job in back in the camera. He's going to work us, make us look good. We don't need makeup yet, but it's getting close.
Well, we got to go to a break.
Yeah,
or you
we're
just
taking a
gonna
break.
roll right
Nick
through
and Matt
this?
show live at the Doghouse Grill.
Thank you.
Welcome back, live on the patio, a warm patio here at the Doghouse Grill, where they got the best tri-tip, I got to say, in California. Most of our people, Matt, who come out and see us tonight, they're smart. They're inside right now. They're watching baseball, and we are outside, and it's warm. But it's too loud in there, so we want to stay outside.
And to be honest with you, it's all going to be on a video podcast. So really, why would you want to be out in the heat when you can just stay at home in the luxury, enjoy your night, and then pull it up late tonight or tomorrow whenever we post it?
I'm talking about
And watch.
our fans right now that are inside in the nice, cool.
We have fans.
We actually have
We
fans.
have 3 good fans. They're boom, boom, boom. We have a couple inside.
Yeah, 34 more are
Yeah.
inside. We want to talk a little year in review. 2014 slithered with 2015, and I because we didn't get a chance to talk about it. I think
Well, with high
overall-
school graduation all
Yeah.
going throughout this week, we're all done now. We're going into the summertime. It is perfect timing to at least recap all the great stories that took place in the world of high school athletics.
Let's start in the fall because that is really how it all starts. It's weird. Football.
That's where I would start.
Yeah, high
'cause
school.
It is the first
Yeah,
sports.
that's how it starts. School starts in late August. And
Maybe we can start in the middle somewhere, and then you can bounce
Maybe-
around a lot, and we can really
Well,
get good ratings.
Producer Scott could probably work that in.
He could
all right?
probably do something.
Yes.
Yeah, he can make it happen.
Division
The fall.
6. The champions Kennedy knocked off
Football?
Avenel.
Are we talking football?
We are talking Division 6 football.
Okay.
We have 6
You have my
divisions.
attention.
6 divisions. Kennedy wins their first section championship in school history. They beat Avenel 41-21.
And I did not see that coming. It was a fantastic
They
year.
went wire to wire, but thanks for asking. They were number 1 on the PAG meter from day 1. So, but we all knew they were going to play Avenel. This was a team, Matt. They were great from 7th grade all the way up, and everyone knew when the Thunderbirds got to senior time, they were going to be good. That's a loaded team. Division 5 might be the first time maybe in high school history where a number 8 seed Corcoran Panthers win the Valley. Rich Lane goes out a winner. He retires, head coach of the Panthers. They beat Emmanuel 44-16, but 8 seed wins the Valley.
And he was so young. I mean, was this a family decision? Do you know much about that?
I'm not sure, but he went out as a winner. Second Valley champion or section championship for Corcoran. Division 4 was Madera Ranchos. They knock off CVC 24-6. Matt, 3 straight for Mike Noel over at the Ranchos. They're in 18-game winning streak right now, and they're 37-2 in the last 3 years. They got it going on in Hawkland.
Yeah, and Richie Brandt and Zach Ritchie, the quarterback, they're both playing in the county all-star game for the county, for the city county all-star
Heck of
football
a
game.
pitcher, too.
Yeah, so they had some talented football players out there, Liberty Madera Ranchos.
Division 3 was Hanford knocked off Madera, a rematch from the year before. Hanford 35, Madera 14, and Hanford was the number 1 seed coming in, but they're going to be good this year as well. Johnson's back at quarterback. The Bullpups got it going on. I don't know how they're still in Division 3. How does that work?
And there was a great battle there between Hanford. Recap a little bit of was the battle for the milk jug or what's the?
Well, they came in. They actually were 9-0 playing Lemoore,
That was it.
and they were both 9-0, and Hanford won the battle. And so, congratulations.
It was going.
Yeah.
But Madera, by the way, came out of relatively nowhere. There was a lot of people talking about them. They got all the way in the championship game. That was good coaching and good football for Madera to come in late like that.
Great start. You meant Connor
Bonner
Cunnings, a great year, Madera Coyotes. Alec Gamboa, one of the best athletes in the Valley. We're going to try to have him on today.
He
but
is,
he's
he is
graduation.
he's the best athlete in the
Well,
Valley.
he got banged up, and when he went down, Madera kind of lost their mojo.
Where do you ever find a guy with that great football ability, but then he jumps into wrestling? Okay, a lot of guys do that. But the wrestling to baseball mix is how many unbelievable baseball players were also state championship level wrestlers?
Oh, by the way,
I've never seen it.
His junior year, he set the state record for most yards in a game at wide receiver. So he's a wide receiver. He's a state wrestler.
Also
and by the way, he throws 90 miles an hour left-hander. He's going to go to Fresno State, and I got a lot of emails. Why wasn't he drafted? Peg me. Come on, he's one of the best. Alec Gamboa said from the get-go, I'm not going to play pro ball. I'm going to go to Fresno State. So that tells all the scouts, okay, take him off the list.
And that photo of Mr. Gamboa with you on your Twitter, you've got that photo.
By the way, he's a model too. I don't know.
He might not be a model, but standing next to you, he looked like he was 10 times better looking than George Clooney.
Well, that's why I'm a radio face.
Yeah.
This is why Pacheco's calling me. I shouldn't be on video podcasts. Division II, it was a battle the last 3 years between Ridgeview and Dinuba. Ridgeview got the better half, but what a great game. 16-14 over Dinuba. And who knows, it might happen again. That is a rivalry now. Ridgeview and Dinuba. Sheldon Croney transferred from Garces over there, scored the winning touchdown. But I think it could be again. You could be a rematch, Dinuba-Ridgeview. Ridgeview, when are they going to be D1?
Well, I'll say if Ridgeview stays in D2, they certainly knocked off Liberty that we won to beat in the championship game. They certainly have a program.
And the Valley Championship, and I called Division I the Valley Championship. Matt Johnson, the Edison Tigers, knock off Liberty, 21-14. Let's talk about that, Matt, because the week before in the semifinals, Edison was down 14-0 to Clovis, and you wore the Cougars out, Rich Hammond and that tough bunch over there. Tell us about that, because my feeling was the first Valley since 1975 in Division I, but your defense was the best I've ever seen. One of the tops in school history. Tell me about it.
Well, defensive coordinator, great coach. Marlon Jackson came in out of Edison High School alum, Fresno State great, Clovis North. He coached with Corey Hall there. Brought him over. He put together, obviously, a very good plan defensively. We had outstanding talent. I mean, let's face facts. I mean, the kids are the ones that win in the football games. But I'm not going to say I felt bad, but that's the first time in my whole entire coaching career and playing career where I was actually shaking the coach's hands for Clovis High School, and it was hard for me to
How was that?
I felt their pain. I felt their pain because they were handing it to us pretty much the whole game. We were just sticking around, keeping it close.
You wore them down.
But I don't want to say we wore them down. We just made the plays when they mattered.
What did Rich say to you after the game?
No, he just shook his head. He didn't say much.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one on the Hammond gang, but they'll be back, and I think they're one of the top teams coming in for next season.
They will be.
Anticipate they'll be right there knocking on the door for their Valley Championship.
Second year coaching, the head coach at Edison. What did you learn from the first year, from the second year? Because it's always a learning. I mean, you've been an assistant, but what did you learn from the year before that?
A lot. Well, I think number one, just to make it Reader's Digest version, I learned to be a little bit more consistent with my, I don't want to call it punishment, but my direction to the young student athlete on what they're doing right and wrong. I think it's hard sometimes because I love them all so much, but it's hard sometimes to be the hard guy. But I've had to kind of change my tactic a little bit, and I've got to teach them that sometimes, good old Matty J has to become the bad side of Matty J, because you can't let kids continue to make mistakes over and over again without certain consequences. So I think we started to kind of learn the difference between right and wrong. And I wrestle with that every day, but that's probably the number one thing. How do I handle the discipline of our football team?
Well, and you look at the Pag Meters Player of the Year, Vance Sams, the middle linebacker, was the force that no one could block all year. You got Tyler Horton, who's going to Boise State. I mean, you had some talent on that defensive side.
Oh, gosh, Anthony Shepard, A.J. Greeley, Jonathan Jeffries, Hunter Swearingen, Kai Williams, Jervell Laney. I mean, the list goes on and on. Jawan Murphy.
Were they great?
Xavier Hamilton. There were so many great young men that were great football players.
And they
It
came
makes a
out
lot
as
of-
one unit.
They did, for the most part. We
Yeah.
stumbled a little bit and showed a little bit of our bad side against Sanger. And after that, I don't think they ever looked back as far as making those kind of mistakes twice. And that's the key. Everybody makes mistakes, but how do you grow from it? What are you going to do next time?
You know what's amazing to me is in high school or from NFL down in any sport, 1 point makes you a great coach, and 1 point makes you think about, am I going to be able to sleep tonight because we lost 28-27? To me, the biggest game of the year was at Ratcliffe Stadium. You guys knocked off Bakersfield. If you don't knock out Bakersfield that night, you're thinking to yourself, are we that good? And who knows what happened. That was a huge win on both sides because Bakersfield was never the same again.
Yeah.
They struggled. They didn't have a quarterback, and it was a struggle.
We'd like to give a little credit and shout out to Mr. Billy Zhang and the Zhang family. Billy hit that field goal, and everybody's looking at me like, what are you doing?
What are you going for a field goal right now?
But he knocked in, I think it was a 38-yarder, I believe, and it was something special, great deal. But
you were down again at the half.
I didn't get too excited
what did you say at half?
because
what speech did you give?
I can't go into that. And we never went in the locker room. We did it outside.
Oh.
But I think that most importantly, I didn't get too excited because you always have a tendency, and all the coaches out there and players that are watching, they understand that when you watch the film doesn't lie. We were absolutely horrible.
You came out a little slowish on offense, but your defense was
horrible. Buchanan game, we were horrible.
You were definitely a second half team.
We got better as the year went along,
Yeah.
but as I review that game tape on a lot of those games we played in, that gives me great hope because there's so much room for improvement.
Yeah, you were definitely a second half team this year. Your first half was shaky. Second half, you were a whole different team.
All right.
Let's spin right through the fall. Girls tennis, congratulations. Buchanan beat Bullard in the D1 championship. Bakersfield Christian knock off Bakersfield in D2. D3, Madera Ranchos over Emmanuel. D4, Indy beat Corcoran. And D5, Sierra Pacific over CVC. Girls volleyball. Again, it's Clovis. It seems like it's Clovis North, Buchanan every year. Clovis
Shocking.
West. Clovis beat Clovis North in girls volleyball to win the Valley Championship. Division 2, CVC over Redwood.
It's all about
Division
clubs.
3
I said shocking, meaning shocking because they work at it.
They really do.
They're all involved in clubs. My son and my daughter, they play volleyball. It's just constant.
Division 3 was Bakersfield Christian over Memorial in girls volleyball. Division 4, Fowler over Kingsburg. And Division 5, Fraser Mountain beat number 1 seed Carruthers. Boys water polo, shocker, and double overtime. Clovis knocks off Clovis North 11-10. I would have loved to see that one.
Yeah.
You see a double overtime for the Valley Championship.
Well, you can get a little action of that. You can go on YouTube and you can get some footage of that one. It was classic.
Division 2, Golden West in a battle of the Visalia area, Golden West over Redwood. Division 3, Reedley knocked off Hanford. In girls water polo, Clovis West over Clovis 5-4 in a shootout. Not a shootout, a defensive battle. Division 2, Garces over Hanford. Division 3, Strathmore beat Reedley in girls water polo. And let's go to the winter time. And we got to watch a lot of basketball. And congratulations. And welcome back to the Nick and Matt Show, live at the Doghouse Grill on a warm patio night here. And Nick and Matt people are coming outside, but they're still inside. We can't get them out. We got the
That's
Dinuba
okay.
folks here, and also Samantha wants to remind everybody: if you want to have your team logo or your helmet or your hat to put on, we're going to have a nice table soon. But get a hold of the peg meter, and I want to start putting some high school. Maybe helmets out. What's it going to take to get an Edison helmet?
About $180.
Okay, good. All right, I'd love to get one. We're talking of the year in review. We just finished up. We're almost to the spring. We got a little boys soccer. I don't know what's going on at soccer at Buchanan, but they won the Valley Championship. Brandon Goldman scores a winning goal over to Liberty. They beat them 1-0. Buchanan Bears soccer is off the charts. Maybe it's because they have 8,000 little kids playing every night.
One reason, maybe it's because they have one of the best facilities that I've seen in high school soccer. They attract good players.
Yeah.
And they teach and coach, and these players are getting it done.
Division II boys soccer, South beats Monache 2-0. Division III, Dinuba over Tulare 4-1. Division IV, Washington Union knocks off McLean Highlanders 2-1. In Division V, congratulations to McFarland. They beat Kennedy. Girls soccer, again, shocker. The Buchanan Bears, they beat Clovis North. Cricket Sweeney scores a winning goal, 1-0. Fourth Valley in a row, 9 Valleys out of 10. Orlando Ramirez is the head coach who just retired. He won 4 straight Valleys, 78, 17, and 9. And the new coach coming in who's going to take over the Rolls Royce is Kevin Butterhill. I mean, hey, what kind of team we got coming in? Well, you've won it 4 years in a row. How would you like to be that coach?
Just success breeds success. You keep winning, the more kids want to play for you. The turnout, as you said, is spectacular. You go out there on any weekend, those soccer fields are filled.
Division II, Madera South over CVC 2-0. I got to give a lot of credit to our boy Pat Evans,
Yes.
who coached Madera South before they even got going. They really didn't have a soccer program. He started weightlifting with this team, and Pat will tell you, this was by far the strongest team in the Valley. And weightlifting in high school sports is really good. And this is a perfect example of Madera South winning the Valley. Pat is now coaching in Clovis West. They'll be ranked number 1 in the PAG meter going in this year, 2015 year. But again, Pat Evans is
Strength does matter.
really does. Division III,
You got to get it done.
Liberty Hawks over East 2-1. Division IV in girls soccer, Strathmore. They were dominated all year. They beat Bakersfield Christian 5-1. In Division V, Fowler over McFarland 3-1. Wrestling, was there any question? The Clovis Cougars again not only won the Valley, state champions. What's going on with the Terrapellis? And first of all, let me ask you this: when Fresno State gets back to wrestling, is there any question there should be Terrapelli as the head coach? Should be Adam or Steve or somebody. Get the whole family in there. They need to be involved.
I'm sure there'll be someone from that coaching tree that's involved. But I'll tell you what, I'm stopping right there on Clovis Cougar Wrestling. 5th straight state championship. They won 13 overall. Another example of a program that probably doesn't. We talk so much about football and basketball and the big sports, baseball, but wrestling, that's off the charts. That is, we have quietly gone about our business here in this valley, and I think it's time that people start realizing that we are without question the number 1 wrestling hotbed, if not in the state,
country,
but in the country. Great things are going on down in Selma. Great things are going on at Buchanan. Schools all over.
Clovis North now?
Yeah, all over the place. And Bakersfield.
Yeah.
I'm so proud to represent this valley, especially when I get stories like this. We'll talk a little bit more about track and field too and Buchanan baseball, but when it comes to me, every year, and you can't deny it, that is my number 1 sports team that I get to look at every year is the Clovis Cougar Wrestling Program.
Number 1 in the state. How many years in a row?
Well, no, they won the 5 straight,
Yeah,
5 straight state championships. They won 13 overall, and I can't tell you right off the top of my head how many individual Valley championships, a Masters wrestling meet they won down in Bakersfield. A lot.
That's a perfect example of a team getting off the bus and intimidating somebody else. Oh my God, that's Clovis over there. I mean, real. You back in the day, I played at Bullard. We were up 3-0 before we even got off the bus. Back in the day. And that's Clovis is one of those schools that when they get off the bus, they're already
and I also like to point out for any of the younger guys that are watching, join wrestling because, in my opinion, from what I've witnessed over my entire 52 years of life, they have definitely. Wrestling makes a real high character, good student athlete. I've come across so many wrestlers all over the country, and it seems inevitably that every one of those guys have a plan about college or something. They are some smart, schooled athletes. I'm really, really excited about people that wrestle.
And I like Rich Hammond, the head coach of the Clovis Cougars football team. Him and Steve Terrapelli work well together. That's a good example of 2 teams working together on an off season. Hey, when are you going to have your player? Well, I like to have them this week. They work well. Where some coaches, no, you're a wrestler, you're not going to play any other sport. Well, doesn't go on like that. Right. Let's talk a little baseball. The Buchanan Bears, we had Tom Donald on last week. Knock off Clovis 15-1. That's the 5th Valley Championship for Tom Donald. Now, are we looking at Tom Donald and that program as one of the tops now after 5 Valley championships?
Well, if you're not, you're ignorant. You're stupid. You haven't been paying attention. Absolutely. I having a chance to obviously know Tom throughout the years and get him into our show and talk to him.
Very humble.
And all the great programs are all the same. Yeah, humble, great, but the plan. They have a plan. And their plan, as I said last show, Tim Simons had a plan. His plan's different than Tom Donald's plan, different than any plan I'd have. Not to put myself even close to those guys. But if you have a plan, work your plan, and he seems to have figured everything out. How he runs that program is the reason why they're so successful.
Yeah, and he beat it. The
And
legend
that's a
James
fact.
Patrick.
You can get all the great baseball players, but in the world of baseball, you would know better than I would. But it's not always just the best talent.
No.
There's a way to build that. There's a lot of great baseball players in this valley.
This was the first year I've seen in a long time where anybody can beat anybody.
Yes.
And Buchanan beat the Clovis, James Patrick, the legend coach, George Chandler, and that group. And they played 10 times. It's probably 5-5. That's how it's 7-inning baseball. It's not 9 where the better team might win. And I don't know. Baseball is more of a series. Would you like to see the Valley Championship in a 2 out of 3? Because the South Valley the south part of the state does it, the north part of the state. They have series. Well, we have one game and you're done. So, I don't know, something to think about. Division II, congratulations to Redwood. They knocked off Hanford. Ricky Garcia, 2-hitter. How about this, though? 21 straight innings this year. Redwood shut out Hanford. And in the Valley Championship, they do it again. Redwood beat them 4-0. But Ricky Garcia heading to Fresno Pacific. This kid's a stud. He reminds me of Alec Gamboa. He's just a bulldog on the hill. His shortstop, he can hit, and he's just a great kid. Also a football player. He reminds me of Alec Gamboa. Division III, Matt, was Garces Rams. Now, Garces played in that Southwest Yosemite League. They were around 500 record, but they were battle-tested. They were beating up the whole league because they had to play D1. They go to play D3, and they win it all. They beat Ridgeview 8-3. And it just seems to me it's kind of like taking that donut off the bat on the on-deck circle. All of a sudden, you're playing teams your own size, and you get to play that way. And Garces Rams a good team. They won the section title. Division IV, congratulations. Fireball knocks off Golden Valley 6-0. And they got more wins. I think it was 29 this year by Fireball. You know what? The Eagles got it going on out there. There's some major talent going on. Division V, Chavez over CVC, 2-0. David Gill fires a 2-hitter. And I don't know what's going on in Titanland, but Chavez, who just, Casey Quinn just took some athletes to that Clovis East passing tournament, and they're going to be good again this year in football.
There's a movement to that school and that community. That's all I can tell you.
That's all. Whatever it is, it's working. Softball.
When new schools open up, that's typically what happens.
Softball. My Peg Meter Fresno Grizzlies Hot Stove League Team of the Year, the Clovis Cougars, and they won the Valley. They made the Peg Meter look good. 2-0. Danielle Lung, only a freshman, Matt. She's 21-1. She beat Central 2-0, and I think with you're going to see in the future with
she's a 21-year-old
Tiana Macha, they're going to see Clovis and Central probably the next 3 years.
That's a good pitching out of a freshman. It was incredible. You and I got a chance to see a lot of those games.
Division II, Madera Coyotes beat Redwood. They knock off the number 1 seed. 4-2. Destiny Ricks with the big. She comes in off in relief and gets the.
You like baseball?
I love baseball.
Yeah.
This is softball now. Thank you.
I know, but baseball, softball.
I love anything with a ball.
Yeah, I said that because your notes are chapters long on baseball.
Let's
all the
keep
other sports
going.
we devoted they devoted a sentence to it.
Division III, Taft Wildcats over the Liberty Madera Ranchos 1-0, and they got it going on at Taft. Let me just tell you, they got it going on.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
They
Division
do.
4, Mission Oaks knocked off Wasco 2-0, and Division 5, Riverdale beat Sierra Pacific 14-4. Division 6 was Orange Cove over Farmersville 2-0. Boys volleyball, Buchanan beat Clovis North. Boys tennis, Clovis West beat Bullard. 18th section title for the Clovis West Golden Eagles. They got a repeat because Bullard won last year. They got a return match, and this year Clovis West won. Let's talk a little track because you were there over the weekend for the state.
What about swimming first?
Let's talk about swimming.
Boys,
Clovis boys.
Yes, that's a big story. Again, upset.
Congratulations to Clovis Seth neighbors. Ryan, let's see if I can read my own writing. McPhee's Zach Koch and Graham Haas, state champions in the 200. So congratulations to the Cougars. Let's talk a little. I want Kellyanne Funk, the diving champion for the third year in a row, heading to TCU. Clovis West girls, shocker, wins the Valley again in swimming. Let's talk a little track. Let me ask you, Michaela Smith was favored. Was it the 400?
800.
The 800. She crumbles. She
Two-time
falls.
state champ.
But she falls on the what was it, right from the. I wasn't there right from the get-go.
She started out. She broke in
From Clovis North.
From Clovis North.
Yeah.
Two-time defending state champ.
Yep.
One of the great all-time short sprint. Started out as a 400-meter runner. Moved to the 8. Fabulous.
Well, let me tell you, is it? She fell, but is it more? Because I saw the video, and is it more coaching?
She didn't fall. She was spiked from behind because she
tell us
jumped
why.
in front. She entered into the lane, cutting into being closer to the first lane of the track.
But is she taught
early.
that though?
No. Well, I don't know if she's taught that, but it was clear with all of her experience, with all of her background in running, and she's coached by a lot of great coaches. But there's been some moments in the past where apparently she's broke to that inner circle a little bit too early and tussled with some people, kind of bullied her way around the track a little bit, and getting spiked. She went down and writhing in pain, and she came back, which was really stupid. I've never seen anything like that, where you take a moment to try to regain her and make sure that there's not a tremendous amount of bleeding in the heel. She was spiked from behind, and she gets back ready to go, and then they walk up to her and she gets disqualified. They let her get all loosened back up, ready to go, came back in.
Why did they wait so long?
She impeded the runners and that were inside of her.
So they looked at it.
Yeah, so she got DQ'd, which is really a shame. Had an opportunity to win that third. I think she would have won the third straight championship. But I'll tell you this, the state track meet, the Valley Masters track meet, I'm a football coach. You're a football tremendous baseball player. You are the PAG meter. You follow all the sports. I try to tell you that track and field is the greatest show each year on earth. It exceeds what goes on in baseball and in football. The greatest show takes place at the Valley Championships and also the state championships right there at Veterans Track at Buchanan.
So Michaela Smith is
But
going to
this was a
this
show.
school. USC will.
Yeah.
What will happen when she gets there?
She needs to train hard. She needs to get refocused because her times now are that the time she's put up now. They're not going to hold well in college in the big show, so she's going to have to start getting a little bit better and faster, and I believe she will. But let's not forget all the great athletes. I go right to Kingsburg, the Air Force Jump Flight School, Seth Brooks, Emmett Brooks, Joey Souza, the most unbelievable trio of jumpers I've ever seen since I've lived in this valley.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, Hannah Waller, Buchanan High School, only a junior, broke 54 seconds, set the all-time, went low 53, unbelievable state champion, hello.
She looked like American Pharaoh in the Triple Crown.
Let's go down to Lemoore,
Cool.
high jump, state champion, Michael Burke, been doing it all year long, 7-foot high jumper, wins the state. I don't want to lose anybody here. Relays, 4th and 5th and 6th by Buchanan. We had some good stuff coming out of the central section this year in track, as good as I've ever seen. Great year for track and field.
So who were the Valley Championships? Who won the Valley
Buchanan,
girls?
Thank you. Buchanan High School went running, going away in the boys and girls. Chalked up another big win. So overall, as you look at your school leader list, that you like to
be Buchanan,
and you go Buchanan. I really can't argue with on that. They got it done in a variety of ways. And sports.
Yeah. Once the spring comes around, they just dominated this year in volleyball. I mean, you can just go on and on and on. The Bears have got it going on.
And let me forget. Out of Centennial High School, Bakersfield, we had the state champion Isaac Trevino in the 800 meters, and right next to him, coming in second for the second straight year in a row, out of Clovis High School, Connor Morello. Unbelievable year for track and field.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Great job, Connor.
Let me ask you this, track boy. How is this year compared to when?
Morgan Hill, by the way, Liberty too. Love your efforts this year and last year and the year before. Probably, arguably the greatest hurdler female to ever come out of our valley now.
How is this year compared to some of the past years in the track field?
Other than that epic year of Jenna Prandini and all the state medals and golds she won at the state meet, but that was awesome as it was. I don't think we've had the depth ever that I've been living here in our central section. We were in it to win it.
Amazing about Jenna Prandini. We all talk, some people, Nick, it looks like she might just peak out after her senior year in Clovis. She probably won't be the same in college. I don't know. She's one of the top still in the world right now from Oregon. What a great career she's had so far for the Ducks.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, my son didn't want to hook up and ask her out on a date, which I'm still to this day.
Can you imagine the kids, little athletes
Jennifer
coming
Andini,
out?
by the way, as this press date goes for this video pod, she is in the finals tomorrow in the 100, the 200. She finished second in the national championships in the long jump, and she's looking for more medals starting tomorrow.
But it's not too late. Your son and her, dating. Can we still hook that up? I mean, is he single?
He is.
Jenna, are you single? Because Sean's a good-looking guy, track star, high hurdler. I'm thinking the kid. How tall is Sean? Is your height?
You see, I'm 6'11".
6'11". Matt used to be 6'11" until that tractor accident. We had to cut his knees off, and now he's 6'3". That would be outstanding.
Tremendous track athlete. I had no idea, really. I knew she'd do some great things, but I had no idea she would be basically the talk of our nation. And she's so multifaceted, it's unbelievable.
Potential Olympic?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So we got City County
What
baseball.
event, we don't know, but absolutely.
City County baseball coming up, and the difference between City County baseball, football, and all the other ones is Tom Donald, and who's going to coach the city from Buchanan, Andy Underwood, who's going to coach the county, along with Alan Clark from the county. They got co-coaches this year. The difference is each kid's going to play an inning, maybe two. Where the City County football, which I still don't like, Fritz and everyone, you got to change this rule, and I hope you can do it too. I want a kid to play both ways if he has to. Some of those county kids are superstar athletes. They never come off the field. You're taking away the art of maybe a wide receiver, cornerback. I don't like that, but it gives the advantage to the city again.
Julie, no?
I
tried to squeeze a couple guys both ways. They caught me on it,
but you got to do that. Because right now it's hot. You just said some of the kids are bowing out of the City County football, and right now it's survival of the fittest when it's game time. How do you handle that? What would you like to see?
like you said there, that's a rule that probably should be looked into.
By the way, he's got a big old giant spider coming on, so we had to get that off. Sorry.
Well,
that's how we roll here.
Well, yeah, this is like we're in the bogs of Louisiana right now.
It really is.
98% humidity.
It really is, and that's why everyone's waving at us from the inside of the Doghouse Grill. We're going to wrap it up this week. I do want to thank Scott, our producer, does a fantastic job. Send us your videos so Scott can put us on, put you on our YouTube video podcast, because we like videos, we like photos, we like all that. And also, your high school, we want to see some high school helmets, your baseball caps, anything. You want to put your swim gear on, I don't care. Volleyball stuff. We're part of this is your show. So we will be back next week. Again, it's City County Week. Congratulations, man. I want to say congratulations to all our graduates this year.
Yes.
It's over. Have a great, make exciting things happen in your life, because you're the next future of our society. So make it happen. Do want to thank Rain for Rent, Fresno Ag Hardware, and the last part of it was Wendy's Restaurant tonight. Wendy's was our sponsor. Thank you again to Wendy's.
Thank you, the Doghouse. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to go grab some of that beautiful tri-tip right now. For Scott Trujillo behind the camera, Nick and Matt, have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next week on the Nick and Matt Show.
Get in the game.